Dear friends, near and far, we continue the 146th International Convention with the following session. After Elle's interesting interview with Jenny Baker, I have the honor now to introduce to you the three panelists who will be speaking in this session, one by one. Marie Harkness, Manuela Kaulich, and John Ellert Benediktsson. Marie Harkness is a retired teacher. She has always felt drawn to the ancient wisdom and mysticism. She joined the Theosophical Society in 1983. She served as Regional Secretary, Northern Ireland, from 1987 to 1994, and also from 2003. She has served as Organizing Secretary of the TS in Ireland, Northern and Southern Lodges combined, since June 2005. She served on the Executive Committee of the European Federation from 2007 until 2010. Presently, she is a member of the International Council of the ITC in Naarden. Manuela Cowley, she's living in Regensburg, southern Germany, together with her husband, and they have two children, and she's working as an architect. Since 32 years, she has been a member of the TS, serving in the board since 2005, as General Secretary since 13 years. She has founded a group in Regensburg where members are studying twice a month and a full day every autumn. The service of a disciple is fascinating her very much, as well as thought forms. The Voice of the Silence is her favorite book. John Ellert Benediktsson was born in Reykjavik, Iceland in 1951 and has been General Secretary of the Icelandic section of the TS since 2018. From 2001 to 2008, he served as treasurer, and in 2006, he became editor of Gangleri, the journal of the Icelandic section of the TS. He has been president of the Blavatsky Lodge in the Icelandic section since 2007. Now, friends, as I am sure everyone is impatient to hear your answers to the different questions, let us go directly to the subject. We have received several questions addressed to the panelists. Let me start with the first question, that is, where do inner challenges come from? Marie, would you like to start?
Inner challenges can be partly karmic, a settling of accounts for former actions. These can also be a blessing in disguise, as they provide opportunities for swifter inner growth from the lords of karma, once one is dedicated to a life of service. Without these crises and our successful handling of them, we would not grow stronger inwardly or spiritually. Even should we fail in a challenge, our efforts are never lost. We will do better next time. By coping calmly in a detached manner with each as it arises, we in time can act intuitively from the center within us. We also can attune to the source of light, which is the best defense, provides the best protection, and helps us cope with any outer or inner crisis. Doubt can be replaced with certainty. Through such regular practice, our efficiency is greatly improved and we see more clearly. Higher help, when we have earned it, is given from within us. Worry and fear are not possible when giving each challenge due consideration and one-pointed attention with a measure of thought control. This is the way of inner growth. Master M referred to the former international president, Annie Besant, as a diamond soul. A diamond is polished with friction before it shows its true beauty. and light.
Thank you, Marie. John, would you like to contribute to this?
Oh, this was very good. This was very good. I think if we are limited to 1 hour, there is not much room for further discussions. So we will just see how it goes.
Thank you. Manuela.
I have something to contribute, a little more. A quotation from Charles Leadbeater. To hear the voice of the silence is to understand that from within comes the only true guidance. I thought about that. Where do many possible changes, challenges come from? And I found that normal people who don't know about theosophy, yes, they have challenges too. And their challenges come from conscience. And they are conditioned by religion, families, etc. So do they have challenges too, was my question. And I'm quite sure they have. Most of us are pondering about situations in the past, what is right and what is wrong. Could I have done something better or not? And how? Same for the future. So most of us are looking for our own mistakes and those of others, and therefore we are dissatisfied. I think these are inner challenges too, more or less. And I think it is important to take an eye on that, because we are role models as theosophists, and this is how it starts or it begins. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela. Okay, question number 2. Knowing the importance that is given to an altruistic lifestyle in all wisdom traditions, what is the correlation between the altruistic lifestyle and the living in the now? In other words, what do ethics have to do with living in the now? John, I'm going to ask
yes.
if you want to contribute to this.
Well, there are some points I noted. True ethics arises quite naturally from living in the now. Living in the now means that there are no divisions in time and space. It means ultimately unity and wholeness. And whoever is living in the now finds himself one with life in its various forms. Harmlessness, for instance, would be the spontaneous outcome of living in the now, as well as giving up other forms of wrongdoing. One living in the now will automatically seek to assist other beings for a fuller expression of their true nature. Or one converted such that living in the now means a life of service. To a degree, it works both ways. Some worthy endeavor and expression of compassion and charity, our true nature, can loosen the hold our selfish personalities has on us and help us to forget ourselves and our separate interests and ambitions and become more sensitive to life as a whole. A life that is seeking expression through various forms.
Thank you.
So that was my thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Marie, would you like to add something to this?
Yes. To live in the present, in the now, with a certain measure of success, we must train ourselves to grab the moment and give it our full one-pointed attention. It is essential to have a good measure of thought control to bat off distracting thoughts, which will disappear in time with practice. We have inner principles within us, an innate sense of right and wrong, more finely tuned as we make inner progress. It is recommended to live a clean life and have a mind which is open to help and inspiration, treating each moment as a gift. In our short time here in this planet, we learn to receive and thereby project and radiate light. This can beneficially affect all others near and far. Each day well lived makes a lovely memory and the promise of an altruistic and better tomorrow. Thereby, it is essential that we concentrate our energy and focus on the present moment.
Thank you very much, Marie. Manuela, would you like to add something to this?
Yes, thank you. My idea was the role as the role model of theosophists. So a lot of people nowadays are looking for truth, but there is a lack of generally understandable terms, connections, explanations by people who know, like theosophists do, who have already realized the serenity of the problem. So we have to clarify a lot of things. The concepts of theosophy must be made known to a wider audience. The topics of the ancient wisdoms must be discussed. Explanations of spiritual connections have to be supplied so that people can develop an overall view, so that these important topics become generally understandable. And last but not least, to help in conquering fear and enabling people to take responsibility. I quote a sentence that Tim Boyd used some years ago. Albert Schweitzer said, "Example is not the main thing in influencing others. It is the only one." So as theosophists, we should be aware of our function as role model. Empathy, a helpful attitude, sympathy, and selflessness are required. And Charles Leadbeater said, "Our work is to help the whole forward, to push any part of the wheel. The life at all levels is the divine life. And if we are helping forward any part of that, we are helping the divine plan." So whatever which kind of service we use, we are very, very useful for this divine plan.
Thank you, Manuela. Now our third question. What, in your view, is the most important challenge of the inner life of a human being today? Marie, would you like to start with this, please?
Mm-hmm. There is much materialism and stress in today's world, always moving at a pace. And yet, in spite of this, there is always the promise of a higher and nobler humanity and life ahead. Remember, we are not on our own. There are higher agencies and powers at work, rooting for us as a race, continuously radiating their light and wisdom on those ready to receive. In the past, holy men and seers left their loved ones and isolated themselves in caves and forests, where they meditated and prayed for all. In today's world, just into a new millennium and the Aquarian age, we are required to be in the world, but not of it, mixing with and working with all others. It takes a tremendous effort to get the balance right, to be friendly, helpful, and efficient in the workplace, yet it is essential that our whole outlook on life, our vision, and method in dealing with all others is stamped by the goal of higher service. We make progress with the inner life through one-pointed dedication to the path, and this includes daily reading, study, and meditation. There is more joy and less angst traveling the middle way, getting neither too elated when things go well or down when we are facing challenges.
Thank you, Marie. Manuela, would you like to add something here?
Yes, I would like to start on the basis like before. I would say first, I must search for myself, find myself, my true self, my inner voice, and ultimately the voice of the silence. It's no more basic that at that point. Through it, I will find the harmony, peace, and tranquility that we need so urgently. Then I'm in oneness connected with all that is. And at the same time, I'm in my own strength. On my way to unity, I can then work more and more for the good of all. You remember the role model as a theosophist. And the second very important thing for me is joy of life. Joy of life opens our senses for impressions directed to the path. One approaches and deals with people differently if one goes through life with joy. From joy of life, true love develops, which again gives strength for the daily life and stroke of fate.
Thank you, Manuela. Very beautiful. Jon, I'm going to ask you if you would like to add something, some thoughts of that.
No, both of them were excellent.
Okay. Thank you. Now, question 4. How can we transcend the flow of sensations and emotions? Why is the purification of the vehicles so important to achieve the living in the now? Jon, would you like to start?
Yes.
Please.
The flow of sensations and emotions is transcended through undivided, continuous attention. We must become fully aware of our emotions in our daily life and try to see what they really are. What's their nature? See how the reactions arise and why. So discover how we actually are, more or less due to habitual reactions. This is a hard thing to do because we often are only dimly or partly aware of what is going on in our psyche and don't recognize the true nature of our emotions. This limits our consciousness that we experience to a flow of separate sensations and not as an undivided whole free of reactions. In pure consciousness, unobscured by thoughts and emotions, all is one and there is no separation. The knower, the act of knowing, and the thing known are one, as Patanjali puts it, and the knower is in no particular place. But these high moments or glimpses come seldom. Can they become continuous, result in a steady flow of illumination? According to Patanjali and other teachers, they can. Living in the now means a consciousness of much higher frequency than that of coarse lower vehicles. So the lower vehicles will have to be refined and attuned to those higher vibrations until they can keep up with them. Refinement is needed, a sort of transmutation, transformation, and finally transfiguration. We need spiritual discrimination or discernment. What is the source of our impressions? From where do they come? We can, for instance, assume that our spiritual aspiration is the result of higher impressions. By spiritual discipline, attending increasingly to the higher matters on all levels in feeling, thought, and deed, and turning away from lower and coarser matters, we are sowing seeds that eventually bear fruit in spiritual growth.
Thank you, Jon.
That was my take on it.
Thank you. Manuela, would you like to contribute to this question?
Yes, I would like to repeat or to remember Janne Vuonanvirta from Finland and his speech from last year, his contribution. He spoke about the 2 arrows of the Buddha. Pain and suffering come at us from the outside. We can't escape that. It is karma. Mostly of the time it is beginning or ending. But we can help determine our reactions by pausing and observing our perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. By doing so, we can diffuse the second arrow that we shoot ourselves. This is very important for me because it helps in daily life. The attachments, our attachments slow us down. Do not allow the vibrations of our subtler bodies to get through to our higher self. They hinder our growth. This is what Jon already said, but perhaps in other ways. Our subtle bodies have small antennae that can clock quickly and then disrupt our sensations. Our bodies are surrounded by a magnetic field. This is strongly influenced by our environment. For example, already when shaking hands, Corona is greeting, huh? Our thought vibrations also influence our vehicles, but also those of the people around us. Conversely, we are also influenced often enough negatively. After all, we can't always decide where we want to be. So our vehicles often enough load up with gross mental matter. Only pure and high thoughts consist of very rapid vibrations and remain untouched by coarser particles. So we have to clean our mental bodies as often as possible so that it can vibrate high as possible. I found a sentence from Krishnamurti. He says, "We cannot succeed in keeping our subtle bodies pure by fighting with their causes. We must turn to the pure, to pure thoughts, feelings, emotions, and physical experience."
Thank you, Manuela. Now I'm turning to Marie. Would you like to add something to this?
Yes, I'll add a little. Without a certain amount of purification of our vehicles, the physical, astral, and mental, we are unable to see clearly each situation that arises or be able to give good advice and help when sought. With increasing control of the mind, awareness, and focused attention, we will intuit, know how best in any given instance to act to help others and thus aid in the uplifting of human consciousness. We are aware that thought manifests. Constant higher thoughts and dedicated service, as you both have mentioned, will no doubt hit their mark and are blessings to all. It is our increasing inner light which attracts the attention and help of the holy ones. Master K.H. has advised, as regards moment-to-moment living or living in the now, I quote, "Ardently seek truth and light and learn to follow them at all costs," unquote.
Thank you, Marie. Now we go to question number 5, which is, which kind of contribution can give Krishnamurti's teachings on the matter of the living in the now? Manuela, would you like to start with that, please?
Yes, I will. Krishnamurti, we know, is not interested in hypothetical questions. He deals with facts, with the real being, with what is now. He is not interested in what could be. He deals in investigations with the totality of our existence, not with parts of it. So he deals with the whole and therefore with the now. We should discover what we are and not what we would like to be or what we could be. Could be is the most interesting for the most of the people. Could be, but we are not. He wants to teach us to understand, not verbally or intellectually, but to perceive, to feel, not to make an idea of something, to see the beauty in it, to see the whole of whatever. It is important what is, him is important what is. He wrote numerous letters about mindfulness, observation and learning from it, and about self-awareness. That all is living in the now for me.
Thank you, Manuela. Jon, would you like to add something to these thoughts? No? Okay.
What is there to add?
Okay.
This is very good, I think.
Thank you. Marie, can you contribute to
Add
this?
a little, yes. Krishnamurti's advice on daily living and in the now behoves us to be aware that our fixation on time as regards our actions born of former knowledge and our limited understanding and thoughts as a result causes us to live in conflict and struggle. He maintains that time is a psychological enemy of man. To truly live in the moment, he recommends pure observation, insight, without any shadow of the past or of time, that in so doing, this brings a deep radical mutation in the mind. He offers that when there is negation of all relating to thought psychologically, then there is love, compassion, and intelligence. He explains that the uniqueness of man lies in complete freedom from the content of his consciousness, which is common to all men. Thus, one can seriously taking this precious advice on board, live truly and effectively from moment to moment.
Thank you, Marie. Okay, we're arriving to question number 6. How can we face the conditioning of our consciousness, that is, of feelings, emotions, and thoughts? Manuela, would you like to start with that, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to repeat.
Sure.
But here again, attention and introspection are required, but also reflection and tolerance. Overcoming conditions is a long process that requires a lot of tolerance towards ourselves, a constant effort. Often enough, we will not be satisfied with our reaction, so we have to start again and again. We also need to gain inner strength to be able to take on challenges in a focused manner. And we need great perseverance. Very bad word for me. I remember again Jani Vonnevirta's talk. He said by these 2 arrows of the Buddha, you can become aware of your conditioning too. So in this way, yes, we can recognize conditioning and slowly but steadily change our reactions. If there are no further reinforcements, conditioning can lose its power. So we can recognize conditioning through observation. Then we can slowly erase it over time with our knowledge that it is affecting us negatively. So observation all the time. We can also counter conditioning with positives. We can replay the situation again and again until we are content with ourselves. And relaxation exercises are also helpful before a stressful situation like today, or for anxiety. Meditation could be another option. In any case, what helps is mindfulness.
Thank you. Thank you, Manuela. Marie, would you like to contribute, please?
With each small step we take in mastering, overcoming our emotions and thought processes with full awareness, we build up and increasingly gain more power and strength in control of these and in seeing clearly. As we make progress with sincere intentions, higher, helpful thoughts also come to us to encourage and fill the void. Thus, in time, we are not conditioned by former thoughts, actions, and words. We then intuit and act more from the center. The more we work and align with the higher forces, the more light we receive and thereby radiate. We then serve at a totally different level. There is a higher way of living, of thinking and evolving. And as members of the Theosophical Society, we are so fortunate to have been shown the key. As Krishnamurti has indicated, the uniqueness of man does not lie in the superficial, but in the complete freedom from the content of his consciousness.
Beautiful. Thank you. John?
Well, I think humility, courage, and honesty is needed here. We must have the courage to face everything in our psyche, the bad as well as the good. And we must discover or see how all this that we are, our personalities are, how did this all come about? And how did it manage to mold our personalities? This is our inquiry, I think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, Manuela?
I have a quotation from Krishnamurti. If you are interested, I can quote. In his letters to the schools, or from the letters to the schools, Krishnamurti says, conditioning is the result of centuries of fear, anxiety, conflict, and the search for inner as well as outer security. So he says, and this is what I make a little bit closer and smaller. So we need to investigate our inner nature, which is very complex. This investigation is real self-education, not to change what is, but to understand what is. This is his message. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela. Okay, and we come to the 7th question, which is the last one. And it says, what does the understanding of the sense of impermanence, which affects all of us, imply in our daily life? And I'm going to invite Marie to start with the question, the answer.
As TS members, it is essential and recommended that we develop a sense of a detachment towards our possessions and any day-to-day situations that may arise, which we have to deal with. It also helps to look on our loved ones, our friends, and our possessions as being on loan to us. Not ours, but on loan to us. Nothing is permanent. Love, born of compassion, understanding, and service survives. That is not impermanent, that lives. All nature is cyclic. Everything changes with the seasons. Likewise, the life of a human being is cyclic, moving from infant to child, adolescent to adult, and eventually to the elderly, old age. These are the human and animal seasons of life. Nothing is permanent. Meantime, in our daily lives, from moment to moment, and knowing we only have a certain time on this earth plane, we may increase our kinship and service to the higher path and powers. This is a thread which is more permanent. As we progress, time spent giving attention to inner development is not wasted, but under their auspices, we make progress and qualify for greater service in each succeeding life. Our efforts are not wasted or impermanent, but are built upon. Our emanations, even without speech, can reach and help greatly all we meet and work with in our daily lives. For example, a rose does not speak, but its beautiful form and scented emanations do. More importantly, to frequently have a deep sense of gratitude expressed for the many opportunities and blessings which have come our way in this lifetime is noticed and appreciated by the higher forces.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you. Okay. Jon, would you like to contribute to this?
Well, I have very little to say to add to this, but understanding of the sense of impermanence, well, one could say that it can restrain us in success and strengthen us in adversity, right? It can also help us to understand that our separate I's or personalities are but effects of reaction in the brain to outer events, thoughts and feelings. So one could say that this creates a whole new outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't try continuously to hold on something or run away from something.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to accept the situation as it is and know that this is only like in a dream. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jon. Manuela, would you like to?
Yeah, I would go on with Jon's thought. Non-attachment. Non-attachment to material things is very important to us. It hurts when we lose it, but this is very, very simple. To know that nothing lasts forever, whether pleasant, difficult, or bad, means even the most severe illness will end one day. I think this gives hope to every seriously ill people. So we should not despair in difficult situations and learn practicing patience, still more patience. Stress reduction is very important. I would like to add at that point, and well, everything is changing every second, we know. Lightness, to keep easy things. I was yet in Egypt, so this idea, we could use the Muslims, inshallah, as an example of lightness. Another culture, but I liked it to be there. And if you like, I have a quotation from a German, she is Musk, I don't know how you say to a female Musk. No, I will quote, "I cannot describe this life. I cannot capture it. It is different at every moment. It is like a river that is always the same, but yet never the same at any moment. We humans are also an expression of this true self, but in the rarest moments, we are aware of it. We usually experience ourselves as a more or less transient form, separate from other forms of life. Rarely do we realize our true self." End of quotation.
True. Thank you, Manuela.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you, the four of you, for sharing your views on all these points. Well, friends, the session is over. I would like to thank all the panelists for all the uplifting reflections and inspiring comments, as well as all of you for joining this session. Our next section is the Youth Forum organized by Europe and Africa. You can follow it if you wish on YouTube if you are above 40 years old. All younger participants have received a direct link for the meeting. Again, thank you all and take care.
Thank you, Angel.
Matze.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.